news. This morning, we've learned that a grand jury has indicted a Farmers Branch police officer for murder following the shooting death of a suspected truck thief. This is a live look at Farmers Branch Police headquarters. A news conference scheduled to begin at 11 o'clock. We're told it may get going here in just the next 2 minutes. We do have live team coverage for you this morning. Our Yona Gavino is at that news conference and will join us with more on that in just a bit.
But first, let's get right to CBS 11's Steve Pickett. Steve, the man's family spoke out just moments ago.
And they, for the first time, were able to say his name. That officer's name, Michael Dunn, taken into custody, already out of custody because he's posted bond, but now facing a charge of murder. As you know, in this particular case, Farmers Branch Police actually withheld his identity, Mr. Dunn's identity, for the past 2 weeks. He turned himself into custody in Seagoville. We were told this happened overnight. He has already posted bond. Let's take you back to June 12th, a surveillance recording of that incident. Let me take you now back to that police chief in Farmers Branch, now speaking regarding all of this. Let's go to Farmers Branch.
As previously stated so eloquently by Mayor Robert Dye, our hearts go out to the Moreno family for their loss. Let us also be reminded that Farmers Branch police officer Mike Dunn's life has been forever changed. Many families are affected by this event, and we pray that this process will ultimately bring closure to everyone involved. Mayor Robert Dye's invitation to sit down and talk with the Moreno family is still open when it's convenient and appropriate for the family. We hope to be able to have this conversation. We all want a clearer perspective on the details of what happened on that evening. That process took a step forward this week with the consideration by the Dallas County Grand Jury. We respect and appreciate the Grand Jury's objective review. Even though their decision is not due for release until Friday, Officer Dunn surrendered himself Wednesday night to Dallas County authorities on a murder warrant stemming from the grand jury inquiry. Forward and be decided in a court of law. The Farmers Branch Police Department's internal investigation into the officer's conduct is ongoing and will conclude as soon as feasible after all the information from the independent investigation conducted by the Dallas Police Department. As of today, we have not yet received that investigative information. However, I want to thank Chief Hall and the Dallas Police Department for their diligence and professionalism in investigating this incident and keep open during this process. Further information will be released when it is available. This is an ongoing internal investigation and now a pending judicial proceeding. There's very little else that I can say at this time. Any questions that you may have?
He called it an internal investigation regarding the Farmers Branch Police Department, but it is no longer an internal regarding official charges from the district attorney's office from a grand jury that decided that this officer can now face a murder charge based on the act of June 12th. Let's take you back to what Michael Dunn did, caught on video on that day, that surveillance video of that incident showing that officer pulling his weapon and firing at Juan Moreno Jr. Moreno was in that white truck. He was an auto theft suspect at that time, essentially trying to evade police. DPD investigated that shooting because it was in the jurisdiction of the Dallas Police Department. They sent this case to the grand jury. As you know, that jury deliberated yesterday, and we now find out that a true bill, an indictment for murder, handed down for this Farmers Branch police officer. We spoke with the family here of Juan Moreno Jr. just moments ago. Their representative said this is exactly what they wanted.
This sends a message that officers do not have the right to kill somebody, that officers have to comply with the rule of law, and that officers have certain guidelines that tell them what they do to do. This is not the first time that a Farmers Branch officer gets indicted and charged with murder. This is the second Farmers Branch police officer who has been indicted, charged, and eventually will go to trial.
He mentioned the second case here for the Farmers Branch Police Department. The first was an indictment and a conviction of Ken Johnson, an officer who was off duty who shot and killed a 16-year-old here. Let me go down the list here in the North Texas area. Roy Oliver. Amber Geiger, as you know, is already charged in Dallas. There was a Mesquite officer, Derek Wiley. He is being retried again for his shooting. That defendant did not die. There was a hung jury in that case just a year ago. And also in Arlington, we have an indicted police officer for another shooting death. All of those cases, with the exception of Amber Geiger, have video attached to them, whether it be body cam video from police officers or other surveillance video. Those grand juries essentially look at that video and the cases presented before them to determine if there is probable cause for indictment. In this case here in Farmers Branch for Michael Dunn, it is now a murder charge for that police officer. We, of course, will update you on this, get more reaction. We'll send it back to you in the studio. For now, reporting live, Steve Pickett, CBS 11 News.